Welcome to Circus Whispers. This is episode 5 of the podcast Circus Whispers. I'm Nadja van Weide and I will be your host today. Circus Whispers. In this podcast, we talk to young makers doing a residency at Tent House for Contemporary Circus. All artists are more or less active in the circus discipline and beyond. And just before they enter the studio, we invite them for an open conversation on their artistry, topics, themes, practical dilemmas that concern them, their generation, and the circus field. This week, we sit down with Liza van Brakel. She'll do her residency next week at Tent House for Contemporary Circus and take us into the world of juggling. And also just to share, we speak in English since most of the makers are non-Dutch speaking. So, who are the makers? Who are the makers? Well, the previous residents were trapeze and illustration father-daughter duo Jan and Mart de Kinder, and we listened first to what they encountered during their residency. We called them after their residency and asked to share with us what they ran into during this residency in the last summer they just had.
Hey Nadja, I hear I send you a little resume of our week in Tent. We had a great week. We tried out a lot of things and tried to kind of make very little sequences, very little chapters that then later on we could pick some out and kind of have a selection of stuff to choose from and to choose what we wanted to go further on. About the bump that you said, we did get it a bit later on in the process than we expected it, but as we said during the podcast, we just went for a coffee after and then it was fine. We had a very lovely presentation also in the end, which we were very nervous about, but we got a lot of very good feedbacks from there that we really can work with, so we're looking forward to see where the future will bring us with this project.
So actually lots of positive looking back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jan and Mart, for this contribution. And we'll come back to it later in the discussion with the guest that's sitting at our virtual table right now. That is Liza. So let's introduce her. She is Liza, born in 1994 and raised in the Netherlands. She came into contact with circus at a very early stage. She spent her entire childhood at Circus Puha in Arnhem. And in 2017, she graduated from Codarts Circus Arts in Rotterdam and discovered her love for juggling and developed this discipline from a physical point of view. You've been connected already to Tent before as a maker and performer, initially as a participant of Back to Base, and later on as a performer for being Benjamin and Jack, two productions by the housemaker of Tent, Benjamin Kuitenbrouwer. And this year, 2021, you'll start working as a maker at Tent, as maker for a week. You're interested in the input of performers and dancers when they work with objects, but don't master the discipline. And this question saying, hey, you don't have to be able to juggle juggle, right? So Liza, tell me, what's your expectation of this juggling craft in your Maker for a Week residency?
Yeah, for me, juggling is not a skill, or it is a skill, but I don't think to be able to juggle, you don't necessarily need the practical skills for juggling. Like, for example, in other disciplines in circus, you need first a certain level to be able to practice tricks. Or, for example, with silks, if you cannot climb the silk, you cannot do the tricks in the air. So you first need to learn how to climb, and then you can continue this skill. Or with handstands, you cannot stand on your hands suddenly. So you have to really practice you have to practice before you can do the handstand. And with juggling, there are so many steps before the actual juggling that for me is also juggling and is for me way more interesting than the actual juggling. So if I'm talking about juggling, I'm talking about juggling 3 balls, for example. For me, this is the basic skills of juggling. And but without these basic skills, there's such a big world of object manipulation that I really love, and I would love to continue more in this world, and not with people that can already juggle, but with people that cannot juggle, but have an understanding of their body. So that's why I want to work with dancers.
And just something that pops into my mind, but are you not afraid of a very clownesque result then, when it's also about, I mean, you are a juggler, you're going to deal with objects, and the topic of juggling, at least if it's also a lot of people that are not able to, to what extent, I mean, well, I don't know, like there's a big chance of humor in there, but there's also like I don't know, clownesque experience potentially. Is this something that you've thought about, or that's in your mind, or not at all?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I really love the aspect of dropping, also of not catching. For me, that is as important as the catching. And often we feel really nervous in my experience. When I drop, I feel very nervous in a show, and I want to also get rid of this. For me, it's the juggling is also about the drops, and I think we should embrace them more. And I think maybe without this feeling of the pressure of having to juggle, maybe this pressure is going away, and it opens new ways of juggling also. And maybe dropping is then really part of it. And for me, that is already, but still for me, it's also still very nervous. It makes me very nervous. And actually, one of the dancers that I'm going to work with, she says that she's really bad in catching. Like, because I looked for dancers that really never have juggled before or have tried. And so one of the girls, Fleur, she said to me that she thinks she's really not good at it. So also that makes me really excited about it, because you know what? Yeah. Nice. What will happen? Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. But then, and because you say so with silk, you need a kind of basic craftsmanship in a way. You need to be able, well, first of all, to have the power, the force, the strength is the better word, I think, in English, to just, I mean, climb this thing, and to know how you put your feet and hands and everything. But I guess, I mean, you know, for juggling, it's the same. You also need to be able to understand the trick. If you have these 3 balls, where do they go? How high do I throw them? I mean, you have to, you know, it has to be in your hand. So there is a lot of craftsmanship.
Yeah, of course. I think the more you want to learn like technical juggling, the more practice you need. Yeah. But until that moment, there's a whole thing before this moment of juggling 3 balls. Yeah, there's so many things to do with just one object, or not even throwing. And for me, juggling is not only about throwing and catching, but it's about manipulating of the object. Yeah. And this you can do without being able to catch perfectly. Or you know, maybe your hands, you cannot catch in your hands, but maybe you're really good in catching something on your foot or on your then for me that's more interesting than the technical aspect of juggling.
Or the mastering of only the mastering of the craftsmanship only, in a way. It almost sounds like you're dealing with it like the philosophical topic of juggling, like more in a non necessarily practical way. Is that something that you recognize?
I really like the mathematical aspect of juggling also. But I also figured out that that's not the interesting part. For me, that is not the part that makes me feel warm. But I like it. But for me, the interesting part is really when the juggling becomes part of the body. And to think more in this way about it than the mathematical way. What is also really cool about it. But
and you told earlier, juggling expands my physical space and fills voids. How do you mean that? Why voids also? I wondered.
So without my objects, I would move totally different in space. And I discovered that with juggling, so I mainly juggle with clubs. It's the long plastic white thing. It's a very strange object. It's called a club.
Yeah.
And I mainly juggle with that. And they've taught me to move in a different way.
The clubs, you mean?
Because the clubs they brought me in space, and they've shown me all the spaces that I didn't know that I could go to, or that were there.
Yeah.
And so for me they're really filling up the empty spaces that I feel when I'm not with them. So also now I move totally different than I moved before I started juggling.
Yeah.
The way I juggle now. Yeah, they gave me a whole different feeling of space, and they give me different movements because they're so onvoorspelbaar. I don't know the English. Unpredictable.
Yes, unpredictable.
Yeah, and in my own body, I think it's hard to be unpredictable. But when you have objects that are not with you most of the time, I mean they're on their own. If they do unpredictable things, I have to also move unpredictable. So this brings me to spaces that I before didn't know I could do, or I could visit these places. Now it sounds really like holy that I'm in spaces, but it's really more simple than that.
Well, but in a way, I mean,
so
you're led. I mean, you let them guide you instead of the opposite. In a way, I feel, no?
Yeah. I really tried that they lead me, or they show me where to go. Then I show them where to go.
Nice. And so you're gonna work with dancers. Is it only gonna be dancers or different disciplines next week?
No, only dancers. No, only dancers.
Yeah. And what do you hope for with them?
I hope.
Well, as in, like, if you, I don't know if you think about indeed, like dancers having another way to abroad maybe, or aboard. I don't know, aboard. I think these objects to deal with. How do you what do you hope for in their knowledge or their body relation towards the clubs? How do you see that, or what do you hope?
Yeah, I think in this week I will work with juggling balls, not with clubs, because they're a bit more simple, and they're more common. Everybody knows a ball, so you can relate to this object, and for me it's important that the person that can relate to this object. So if I would give a club, it's too far away for them. So that's why I choose to work with balls. I mean, maybe in the week I decide, let's change the object, or I'm thinking maybe I can also use other objects. I don't know yet, but my beginning idea is to start with the juggling ball, and from there on, maybe we end with branches of trees. I don't know, but but I want to start with the ball. And what I hope a lot of sweating at least. And I really hope that I can also open a world for them in their body language, and I also hope that it will be like a two-way conversation this week. So not just, I mean, I'm the one giving the information and the tools, but that I hope that I can take a lot of inspiration out of them. That is really important for my own juggling research also. Yeah. So I hope it's a two-way conversation.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's more. I don't want to put too much pressure on this week also, because it's my first time that I'm in front of a group. So I want to see it also more as a workshop, and then I want to see what comes out of it. You know,
potentially have a playground to discover.
Yeah, exactly. This would be the best. I mean, this is a dream, kind of. I would never have thought that I would be able to be in a studio with some dancers that come for me. Yeah, it's a dream, but also it's a bit anxious, of course, because they come for you.
Yeah.
And
But then on the other hand,
they come.
I mean,
they
this potential of discovering new ways of working with your body. I don't know. I can imagine also that there is something very fruitful or nourishing.
I think for both of us.
Exactly. Well, it gives me a nice bridge towards the next topic, which is about the bump. The bump. The bump. So,
the bump.
Actually, something I'm always curious about, since makership doesn't necessarily always come easy. I mean, good projects don't necessarily come naturally. And we've just heard Jan and Mart's contribution. So of course, Mart tells in a way like the good outcome of what happened in their residency, and that they had the bump, but they came over it with a cup of coffee.
The coffee.
And then so basically, what they when I asked them what their fear was on bumping into, they came with a lot of things. Actually, because they wanted to work with technical aspects of having beamers and projections and live projection on bodies, and so Jan in a way not totally for the first time, but still like live drawing on stage. So there was a lot of new things for them, so there was a lot of also anxiety for the practical difficulty of just dealing with that situation. But well, now as we hear back to it, you see that they've survived the week. And so they told this I think great solution, and it reoccurs when bumping into something. People need like a kind of ritual. It feels a little bit on getting out of this. So for them, it was the cup of coffee to solve a misunderstanding or a disagreement. So there was, who was this again? So some people would go for a bike ride. I think it was Luc Brandjes, the teeterboarder. It's funny that there's this reoccurring thing of actually going out of the situation of being into something very deeply, and then taking some distance and then diving back into it. And I was wondering, is this something you recognize? Do you have this? Do you have a ritual of getting out of a situation in order to get yourself back together? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, totally. I think in every creation process or residency I've done with groups or alone, there's always this moment that you step back because you got stuck on something in a bad way or positive way. That doesn't matter. But if you get stuck, for me, it always is good to take a step back and do something completely different. Yeah, to get my head out of it. But I don't have one thing I would do. It could be a break of 10 minutes, or I could put on a nice song and dance to it, or I could have a tea, or there's not one thing I would do. No. But definitely like just to do something totally different. Yeah.
Hey, and do you have a bump? Are you hoping to, or afraid of maybe running into or bumping into something the upcoming residency week?
I think I'm a bit nervous about the standing in front of a group of people that are there for me. I mean, I've done workshops, but this was like 1 day workshops or 2 days workshops, and now it's 7 days. So, and I feel like I need to come with a master plan. So then in the night I think already about this master plan, and then I don't have a master plan. So I think like, shit, they think I come with a crazy plan. And then I'm there, and then I've blackout, and I don't know what to do. This is what I'm afraid of, that I have no ideas, that my ideas are gone. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sounds like a nightmare, actually, more than reality.
But also then in my experience, when you're there, then things come also that you beforehand didn't think of. So I also really trust in this concept of things grow, and you get new ideas by the one thing you did, and maybe you don't have an idea yet, but this can come in the moment. And I have trust in that also. But I need some plan B's and C's and D's to have in the pocket. Some backups. If I really don't know, I have to have a backup plan. Or we go drink tea, or we go for a little walk. I don't know. Yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
Is it? Do you? I mean, it's also, these chances, these opportunities of being able to experiment without. I mean, this is also the sake of art, no? Without necessarily knowing the outcome already. This possibility of just being able to be there together, having this initial idea, but not necessarily. It's not a plan. It's not an. You don't have an outcome written already with the whole script. I think.
No.
Kind of hope for you.
No, it's not.
No, so in a way I can also imagine, that it's nice to have this not knowing.
Yeah, and also
for a week.
Yeah, it's really beautiful that we can just work for 7 days, and that there's not the pressure, or that there's not the pressure of having to have something in the end. I mean, we do this small presentation, but I don't want to take it too hard on me, this presentation.
No.
So, and I think I'm good in seeing this presentation as just the end of the week fun time. I want to see it like this.
Yeah.
This week is already, this whole week is already an outcome, kind of.
Yeah.
It's already
there.
Yeah.
It's planned. It's gonna happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but so this nightmare kind of, but it sounds a bit, I mean, the fear of it being out of control and maybe not knowing how to cope with possible situations. It sounds a bit, anyway,
exactly.
nightmarish, but then, I can imagine that it's a fear to have, especially since you say that it's a bit of the first time that people come for you. I also had to think, it's funny because you're a performer, so you're very familiar with 300 people looking at you and clapping afterwards. That's no problem, but when it's like a few dancers, that is it. Then no.
Then alarm bells goes off. Yeah.
What's this contradiction then?
Because I'm gonna share a lot of my ideas of juggling, my tools, and this is quite personal. So to share this personal research with people is also a bit scary. Yeah. But the good scary also.
Nervous maybe.
Yeah. Good nervous. I think this one is also really important to have. The healthy nervous.
Yeah, I can imagine. I had to think of I made the first time I made a project with actors, and at a certain point I asked them like, hey, but I kind of realize now that you need me to tell you what to do, right? And they both nodded like, yes. And I was like, oh yeah, I haven't realized before. Oh, and I really felt stupid, of course. But then on the other hand, I also thought like, hey, this is funny, it felt so naturally that I wanted to work with actors. I wanted to be in this situation, but this whole role of me, of deciding what steps to take. Hey, okay.
It was on you,
Hey, so I asked you to prepare something prior to this discussion, and that was to think of a thing. The thing. Every time we ask residents to bring an object or a prop and discuss this thing or things or whatever it is. And well, of course, we're very curious to hear what it is. Can you, share it with us? Can we listen to it?
Yes.
How do you want to share it?
So I have it actually on my head. It's my headphones. Yes. And they're almost is the thing I wear the most on a day, I think. It's kind of the people that wear earrings or necklaces or things like this. For me, it's the headphones is my accessory. in life. Like people always see me with headphones, and sometimes even I have them on and I don't know that I have them on. So I was thinking what to take, and I was like, this I always have with me, and for me it's really important in so many things, not just in the circus life, but also in my normal life. Or my headphones are really really important for me. So
And why? Why do you always have them?
Because I listen to music almost the whole day. If I'm not with people, if I'm alone, I always have music in my ears. And I think half of the day I'm with music in my ears. And all this music also is really important for my juggling and for other circus things or for personal things in life. Music is always has been always.
And you're not working with musicians next week.
No. But I will definitely have music on all the time.
Cool. But no musicians yet, maybe.
No, not yet. Maybe in the next time.
Yeah. Ah, cool. And why? I mean, is there?
I just really like sounds. I like sounds in general, and I really appreciate different sounds coming together in a song. So when I listen to a song, I listen mostly to if I hear strange sounds or funny sounds that I didn't hear in other songs before. And then sometimes I go back to this. It could be in one song that I just like 15 seconds of this song. So for me, I really love sounds.
Cool. So this is, I guess, also it's gonna be a big part of your practice in that sense, or it is also with the juggling. So yeah, interesting.
And then it's also a different kind of music, of course, not always the same. Yeah, there's a wide range of different kind of. I'm not always listening to crazy hardcore music.
And do you also then already have or strong ideas on what kind of music now you envision in the next piece, for instance? Is this something that you're busy with a lot?
Yeah, I was thinking of every day a different kind of genre of music. So in the residence week, I would every day have a different kind of genre in music to use. So because I'm also curious what all this different kind of music brings to them. So not that we always work with the same kind of music, but that every day there's a different layer of music.
Cool. Yeah, I'm hearing this a background sound. I think of it sounds a bit like a truck that is driving backwards. Truck. Oh, you're having sound blocking phones on. That's funny. Because you're packing today, right? You're touring and you're packing today to leave to a next location.
No, we already arrived on a new location today.
You just arrived.
We packed this morning to drive, and now we arrived. And then tomorrow we pack again to drive again. And can you tell shortly also to the listeners where you are now? And right now I'm on the lake in Switzerland, in Mammern, because I'm on tour for 2.5 months in Switzerland with the Circus Far Away, with the traveling circus, and we drive from village to city or from city to village to perform for people, for everybody. That's what I love about this tour, is that you don't have to buy tickets. So everybody can come and watch. So
cool.
You get all kinds of audience, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, super nice. And so now is your last week, or are you gonna go back after the residency?
No, it's my last week.
Okay.
But we continue, but not in in October, November. So not yet.
Oh, cool. Well, nice. It's a nice. That's the funny part about having a virtual table of discussion. You could as well be in Switzerland in a totally different situation than I am. Cool.
That's what I love about technology.
Hey, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing your thing. And I wanted to. You prepared a quote. The quote. Each time the previous resident sends a quote, statement, or thought to the next resident.
Mm-hmm.
And this can serve as food for thought, hopefully to help the makers during their upcoming residency. So we will now listen to what Jan and Mart share with you.
So hi Lisa, we have a quote for you from Astrid Lindgren or from Pippi Longstocking, whoever of the two you prefer. And it's a very simple one, but for us it was to the point. It goes as following. I have never tried that before, so I think I should definitely be able to do that. Have fun with your week.
I like this one.
Yes, me too. Actually, I think it's a very known quote. I mean, for me, it's a very known quote, at least. I don't know if it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really fits to my residency, actually, because it's something I've never tried before. And I actually think I'm able to do it. Yeah, because
cool.
For me, things like something about always a first time is that you can imagine so many things because you don't know what it is or what you can do. So you can imagine so much, and all the possibilities are still open. So that's what I like about a first time.
Yeah, great. Yeah. And I think if the nightmare doesn't pop up too much of the fears, then there's lots of potential of giving yourself this playground, no? And this just trying. And I mean, in a way, there is no failure because there's no necessary result. Right?
Exactly. So the failure is not really in the picture.
Are you working towards a piece, or is it really just a first inventarization of ideas? What's the status now?
Yeah. I mean, I would love in the future to have a dance juggling show. But how and with who, this is all not clear. But I would really love to go more in this direction of dance and juggling. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So it's a first try.
It's really a first try.
Round.
Yeah. First digging.
Yeah. But you're definitely going to be able to do it.
Definitely, because I never tried it before. And my teacher always, I always learned from my teacher in school that nothing is impossible. So this also really is exactly about that also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks. Great. Hey, and now I will give you the time to share a quote or thought for the next maker, or makers. Actually, it's Sinking Sideways, working with acrobatics. And you prepared a quote for them also. Would you like to share it?
Yes, of course. So, hey, Dries, Xenia, and Raf. I have a quote from you from Wes Anderson, the film director. And the quote is, "I don't think any of us are normal people." Have fun with your residency.
Great. And why this one? Tell me.
Because Wes Anderson, I really love all the movies of Wes Anderson, and he once said in an interview of how he chose the people in his films, because there's always strange characters in his films. And then he said, a lot. But then he said, because nobody of us are normal people, so it's actually quite easy to find these characters. And then I thought of Dries, Xenia, and Raf. They're also working with 3 people, so it's already so I'm curious also how they found each other, or the combination of these 3 that make me think of a Wes Anderson movie, actually, a bit.
Yeah. They are the Wes Anderson movies.
Maybe they are. They could be.
Maybe they are. Yeah. Let's ask them.
Yeah.
That's a good one for next time. Nice. Hey, thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you very much for this interview from Switzerland.
Yes.
Thank you for your openness, and super interesting to hear your thoughts on this, well, in a way, crossover working that you're starting now. This, in a way, this non-fitting of the juggling, dealing with other situations or bodies.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Lisa, and enjoy your residence next week a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm really, really excited.
Thank you. And one last thing that I want to share with you, you can ask questions to the makers. So do you have a question, a comment, suggestion, or thoughts, whatever that you'd like to share with today maker Liza, or Thinking Sideways, or one of the next year's following makers? Please send us an email to info@tent.eu, and we will include your contribution in the next podcast. Great fun. And for now, till next time.
Bye.
This podcast is a collaboration with Tent House for Contemporary Circus, myself as a host, director, and editor, Nadja van Weide. Music is made by Tent House maker Benjamin Monkey Kuitenbrouwer. Mixage is done by Jade Metin, and many thanks to the makers, of course. House of Circus, Luc Brandjes, Jessica Helmuth, Thinking Sideways, Liza van Brakel, and Mart en Jan de Kinder, of course. Tent is supported by the Performing Arts Fund and the Amsterdam Fund of the Arts. For the latest news, subscribe to our newsletter and visit our website www.tent.eu or follow us on Instagram. Bye bye!